But there are different ways to arrive at good governance depending on what is prevalent
Your context.
in different countries. But let me ask you this, Baba Yusuf. One of the analysts that we regularly feature here, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, reckons that Nigeria's problems, sort of along the lines of what Dr. Peterside is saying, reckons that Nigeria's problems are not constitutional but attitudinal. He reckons that the focus should be on strengthening this country's institutions, finding ways of making the country's leaders lead by example, because he says changing the constitution will not necessarily stop corruption and all the other aberrations that occur in this society. I wonder what your take is on this. Will the constitution help to prop up the utter collapse of values in this country?
I believe it will. First of all, the unity is key, or a sense of it. Justice is key, or a sense of it. Likewise, equity.
Indeed.
And therefore, in order to placate those that feel rightly or wrongly that they are marginalized, this process will manage, like what Doc said, the perception issue, and then deal with the structural issue. Okay? That beyond that, I've also said in many fora, and I've written about it.
Yeah, and you actually wrote an article recently.
Absolutely,
about this
and I'm going to take an
thing.
excerpt of that to buttress what you said, what Dr. Adeni and Dr. Dokuku is saying, that the citizens of this country need to wake up and recognize that the political class will not hand over what they want on a platter. And speaking to the citizens, and speaking particularly to you, myself, Dr. Dokuku Peterside, the elites, we have been serially underserving
well,
this
you're
country.
the elite, I'm not the elite.
Because, you see, why am I saying so? Amongst us, we have the CEOs, the DGs, the ministers, the PAMSECs that are part of what I call the corruption value chain. But more importantly, how will the citizens participate? Because we are a subset of a society. And like Dr. Dokuku is saying, if the value system is broken, then you have a problem. And I will take an excerpt of, a quote from Rohini Lelikani. She's a writer, an author, and a political analyst. In 2013, she wrote an article, and I take an excerpt of it. She said, quote, "We cannot be mere consumers of good governance," that is citizens. "We must be participants." Okay? We must be co-creators of good governance. As citizens, we have to co-create good governance. We cannot outsource it to the political class and hope to be passively happy consumers. Like everything worth its while, good governance must be earned. And what that means is that citizens should also understand that they have roles to play. So while we are speaking about the political class and we are finger pointing, they are a product of a society. And therefore, putting pressure on the political class to deliver, constructively so, rightly so, and in a civil manner, especially the elite. Like I said, if you look at the demography of the voting pattern, most of the people that are collecting spaghetti are not the elites. The elites are busy watching this, sipping juice, while these people are in the reins and we are judging them. Okay? We don't participate in the electoral process. Most of us don't even have voters' cards.
That is very true.
And then in terms of governance, we participate, aid and abet. Corruption by the virtue of our positions about PAMSECs or directors or whatever, deputy directors within the civil service. And then we come and pontificate and continue judging and telling people that are the masses that they are collecting money, while the billions and trillions that are being shared by the political class, we take a percentage of it. So we need to have that in our consciousness in these engagements. Even when they do the town hall meetings, Charles, and the public hearings, we don't attend. While we are the subject matter experts. And this grammar we are blowing here, we should blow it at the National Assembly, during the public hearings going forward. So I think we need to wake up as elites to understand the value we are going to add. We are not as much in population, but the value and the impact we will give will be very impactful.
I think you make a lot of sense. I want to just move on a little bit from that, because there was another issue that came up that kind of dovetails into this. And that is the fact that just, I think it was barely a couple of days ago or a day ago or so, you had the Council of State meeting in the presidency. I believe it was yesterday. They gave a vote of confidence to President Tinubu. How deserving do you think Mr. Tinubu was of that vote of confidence? Or is it of no significance as far as you're concerned?
Charles, in the presidential system, when elites give themselves a pat on the back, there's nothing to celebrate. So they're all members of the same class, club of former presidents, club of governors. Giving themselves a pat, is nothing to... It is a tradition borrowed from the parliamentary system. I'm sure you know that.
Right.
So in this specific instance, I don't think there's anything unique about it. I think the issues remain that Nigeria is facing, the kind of challenge that we have not faced in a long while. And that the earlier we find solution to this challenge, the better for all of us. We're simply sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and it might just explode any moment from now. So it's not the time for us to just go giving ourselves, high five. No, we must show that we're by far more serious-minded than that. So if you ask me, I don't think that's of any consequence. But
I wonder if there's a political sort of thing there, given the fact that whether the weight of it is kind of lessened, even if you think it's not that important, by the fact that two significant former heads of state, Olusegun Obasanjo, who's still very active politically, and Ibrahim Babangida were absent.
Well, Dr. Charles, you see, the self-appraisal Doctor is talking about is of no consequence. First of all, for me as a citizen of this country, as a progressive, I think what is important is, the body language is even not right. Because we beg people for votes, we told them every sort of thing. And then we get into office, we take out of office, we take instrument of power and coercion, and we turn against them. We speak with them with a sense of entitlement. We insult them, and we call them, people that are against you. Everybody knows. Charles, in some part of this country, I can speak for the north, some people are eating grass. I can tell there's what we call tafasa is grass. They compete with animals. We used to feed animals that particular grass.
That's shocking.
And that is the reality. And you have people in government, including handlers of Mr. President, coming to insult these people and say they are opposition. You see, the moment you become fixated on your opponent, in this case opposition, you lose touch with reality. And the truth is, we are a country that is highly political conscious at this point in time of our political history. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, the government should be looking and be listening to the people, not PowerPoint presentations. Okay. What are the points, what are speaking to us in terms of insecurity and hunger on the ground, in the land, in the entire country, not one section, is the issue, not about opposition party.
Okay, and on that rather depressing note, I want to thank both of you very much indeed. I know it was a fairly short segment, but your contributions have been absolutely sterling, as usual. Baba Yusuf is a policy strategist, Group CEO of the Global Investment and Trade